Hi again. So I'm going to continue to talk about gene mutation and Darwinian theory of evolution. As I stated in my first couple of them that the mutation is known nowadays, but Darwin did not know about it. He didn't even know about the genes. So certainly the gene mutation is a new development that has occurred now, which Darwin did not have an advantage. So his theory of evolution is probably correct, and the evolution did occur based on the genetic observations that have been done, as I mentioned in my first video. I'm talking, however, about the reason for the mutations in the gene that occurs. It is difficult for me to conceive, like I said before, that a single cell amoeba multiplying with the easiest way, getting fat, splitting, becoming 2, getting again fat, splitting into 4, compared to the complex human reproduction. Then I was talking about the gene mutation that occurs. We briefly talked about the breast cancer mutation that occurs only in 50% of the offsprings. And again, the male affected with it are not equally affected as the female. I also want to talk about some other gene mutation just to understand why and how, and then take you to my understanding or my theory of why the genes are important, why the mutation occurs, and how that can explain something. There has been always a scientific discussion and as to the cause of any disease or any behavior. And people always question whether it is the nature or nurtured, the surrounding under which people are brought up versus the gene or the nature. So to take a couple of examples, if you look at another gene mutation, which is called MAOA. MAOA. This is a particular enzyme which is utilized in brain for various things. That is MAOA. And the low levels of these were found in certain criminals. So when they studied the levels of monoamine oxidase inhibitors, rather the blood levels of this, they found out that when uniformly it was low in certain children, they became criminal as adults. The interesting part though was that not all of them which have low levels of MAOA are criminal, nor all the criminals have the low levels of MAOA. So an antisocial behavior is promoted or is likely to occur in patients who have this particular enzyme at a lower level. The interesting thing was seen that if the children who had the low level and were brought up in a loving two-parents family, they did not become criminal or antisocial as much as when the children born with such a low level of MAOA were brought up in a family where there was child molestation or mistreatment of the children or single parenting. Again, please remember that not all criminals have a low level of MAOA. This is not a 100% correlation, but this is an observational fact that this low level did predispose kids to becoming antisocial behavior. And when the families were loving and caring, the chance reduced or was not there. But when the families were broken up and were not loving, the children did become antisocial or even criminals. Another gene mutation, which is called FOXP2 gene, this gene mutation occurred in human beings, which is why we have a language. This particular gene is seen in everybody. There is a presumption that this particular gene mutation occurred several hundred years ago, and that mutation made us human beings to talk. Now, certainly, we don't understand, or we certainly don't know if the animals, whether they can talk, but we don't understand it. They found out that a gene mutation of this FOXP2 gene caused significant language problems in children and in certain families. The question that I have is that what is the benefit of this particular gene mutation? I can understand that originally when this mutation occurred, it was due to, or it was advantageous for communicating better with your own species or your kinds. So the human beings started talking, or we developed a language, or we had a language, and that was attributed to this FOXP2 gene. However, the question is, in human beings, when we see certain people who have a gene mutation of this particular gene, why did that mutation occur? There is certainly no advantage in not having a language, and so it is difficult to explain why this particular gene mutation occurs in certain human beings, which deprives them of the language, which is an advantage. Now, people always have developed different theories as to why certain gene mutation occurs. I mean, from environmental exposure to radiation, to chemicals, and this and that. But these gene mutations, remember, it's in all cells of the human body. Similar thing is seen in many other gene mutations, some of which are known to a lot of people, some of which are not known to a lot of people. One of the difficult topic is the sexuality preference. And again, if you do identical twin studies, the homosexuality is not 100% in identical twins. It is definitely more than the general population, but it is not 100%. And the question that arises is, if it is genetically transmitted, then why do we have not 100%? Please remember that all of us are born with almost 60,000 genes mutation that our parents did not have. So any one of these genes could be responsible for any of the characteristics or instinct that we have that our parents did not have, either the look-wise or disease-wise or behavior-wise. But certainly we don't have a 100% correlation with the genetics and the behavior also. So there is definitely an environmental factor, and there may be something else. This takes me to a theory that I have about why the genetic mutation occurs. According to me, and this is only an observation, it is not surprising to see that we all have similar genetic structure. I mean, not only all human beings are similar, but even there is significant common genes in mice or roundworm or earthworm to human beings. So multicellular, multi-talented, multi-aptitude human beings have similar genes as a roundworm or an earthworm. And that is something very difficult to accept, but it is there. But remember that if you look at a house, and this is where I'm going to start probably in my next one, that if you know a house is being constructed, whether it is in New York or whether it is in Miami or whether it is in Seattle or Brazil or India or Germany, they all need the same structures. So the bricks, the mortar, the woods, the studs, the roof, the paint, cement, they're all going to be required to build the house. Something similar is going to be happening. So when a live organism, whether amoeba or earthworm or a mice or a dog or a cat or a human being, is built, they are going to have similar element to construct it. These similar elements are genes which are in the cells, which are going to be seen everywhere. So now we will talk next time about why does the genetic mutation occur related to law of karma. Thank you for watching. I hope you like it and you will watch this and subscribe. Have a nice day.